Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with the full-on review here of Thunderstrike. Now that most of us should have him unlocked after the recent payout of the seasonal raid rewards, it was nice that they actually added some extra shards in there to basically guarantee the unlock here. And now, as you can see, 4 yellow stars, but no red stars. So obviously that's going to be released in a future Thunderstrike raid that they've announced on Marvel Strike Force already. But yeah, good to know for sure. Let's talk about what he's going to be bringing value to. Remember, his partner in crime is actually Blastaar. So these two characters, they're going to be synergizing extremely well together because Blastaar, he hit a little bit under the mark compared to Quasar when he was released. But then now that we have Thunderstrike as his battle partner in Cosmic Crucible, it's definitely going to switch up the metas, and they're going to be able to take down some pretty notable foes, especially in the Cosmic Crucible setting where some of those synergies are very powerful for teams. But these two characters, they're going to be able to do a lot together here, especially given some of the synergies that we can theorycraft with. So let's get into it. Thunderstrike basic ability here is called Thunderburst, right? He's going to be attacking primary and adjacent targets for 80% damage. In doing so as well, he's going to be gaining charge. So that's very, very reminiscent of the other, Asgardian Thor type of character. Because remember, he is a human with the powers of Thor, right? Basically is what Thunderstrike's background is. So it's really, really cool that, he gets to possess that, but he's still immortal at the end of the day. He also does apply bleed to primary and adjacent targets once you actually level this ability with the T4s. But with this awakened one, though, and then it remains to be seen. Maybe this is also going to get featured in the Thunderstrike raids. Maybe they'll just distribute different awakened ability materials as the raids progress. But you can see here, he applies additional bleed. And then on Cosmic Crucible offense, he's also going to be reducing the duration of regen by primary and adjacent targets by 2. So this is a really good basic already. Just the additional bleed, but as well, being able to reduce regen for a basic. Pretty cool stuff. But again, awakened materials are some of the hardest to get, especially for characters being released, and usually they funnel it over time, and maybe we'll see it in the seasonal store, which would probably make the most sense, to be honest. But we'll see how generous they are. If not, level 7 will do the job for now, but it's going to be a strong basic ability in terms of just gaining charges and applying bleed, so giving us a hint over it already what his potential ISO-8 is going to be, especially synergizing there with Blastaar himself. So Lightning Lash special, attacking primary and adjacent targets for 80% damage, and as well on offense, he's going to get a 50% chance to call on a random Blastaar ally to assist. So this is going to be notable because you'll see this mechanic throughout, obviously breaking down that synergy there, but as well, that's why it's important to keep these two characters together, especially in Cosmic Crucible offense, right? He's also going to be clearing 2 random negative effects from himself and all allies, so it's nice that he has a bit of a cleanse there. And then obviously you can see this is where he's going to get the guaranteed of always calling on Blastaar to attack. He provides a heal here, which is pretty notable, that supportive role. And then also stealing 20% from primary and as well as adjacent targets and redistributing that. So that whenever you see that redistribution of HP, especially given how significant it is, it's a really, really good ability because it scales with the enemy's HP as well, right? Unfortunately, I wish this wasn't just Cosmic Crucible. This would have made for a really killer Dark Dimension ability if he was able to do that. But 20%, that's very notable. And then finally, with the T4 upgrade here, he's also applying blind to the primary target, and then blind actually applies to all adjacent targets in Cosmic Crucible offense. So again, very powerful, guys. He's going to be providing support, cleansing, some healing, in addition to obviously redistribution of HP, which is pretty massive here because it always bypasses that heal block. So really, really good upgrade. Rolling Thunder ultimate ability, attacking all enemies for 70% piercing, 50% chance to call a random Blastaar ally once again, and it's unavoidable. So kind of cognizant of the other Thor abilities too when they have that massive ult. This is very, very similar, right? And that's why it costs a lot of ability energy, as you can see right there, 10 in total. And then obviously the piercing is going to be very, very devastating, especially given how much more damage you can actually push up with this ability, right? He applies safeguard, defense up, immunity as well to himself and Blastaar. Of course, trauma is going to land. Once again, bypassing and redistributing HP 10% right there. So very powerful, bypassing heal block, right? It's massive. Again, blind being applied to random support allies, which is massive because when using this ability, you're already trying to cast on damage, but if there is anybody that, survives, the blind is going to, linger beyond that one turn, which is pretty massive. 100% piercing to primary and secondary targets, always calling on Blastaar. Awaken ability upgrade again here for the ultimate, which is on Cosmic Crucible offense. Before this attack, he's going to be reducing the duration of all positive effects. So this is going to include Safeguard, right? If they're also a villain, he's going to be stealing ability energy. And then if they're a hero, he's going to be applying an ability block. So he's doing a bit of everything. And this is why it's going to put Blastaar over the top, because with all the assisted attacks and support he's providing Blastaar already, he's holding himself very well on his own as well. So remember, you know, Thunderstrike isn't just a sidekick. He's going to be doing a lot of the work as well. Maybe even more than Blastaar, if I'm being honest, until Blastaar obviously unleashes that devastating ultimate with his bomb burst. So pretty massive. Again, very, very strong ultimate ability, but we need the awakened ability materials. Otherwise, if you don't have this aspect, you know, the blind is decent, the steal HP is decent, trauma is good, safeguard. So it's still doing a lot, but it just puts the ability over the top when you're able to actually reduce those positive effects, right? And then last but not least, his passive here, Architect of Thunder. So on turn, he's healing himself, which is a great self-sustaining. And we've seen this with newer characters when they lack synergy with other characters. You know, this is a good way to kind of ensure that they have, you know, some self-sustained healing without actually using abilities, which is massive. If this character does have charge, though, he's going to be burying himself, Blastaar, and all Asgardian allies for 10%. So some synergies with Odin, perhaps. That's really cool. And then as well, obviously, at the end of the day, he's also going to be losing the charge after that. But it's really nice that he's going to be benefiting some other Asgardians on the in the actual game there, right? For sure. It's just unfortunate that they're dated. When an enemy attacks his character or ally, he's going to be attacking and retaliating back. So that's nice. That's a nice Thor mechanic right there. When an enemy attacks his character on Cosmic Crucible, he's also stealing 10%. My goodness. Until this character completes a turn, enemies cannot gain defense up and cannot gain defense down. Good stuff. So it's not going to be until he actually takes that turn. And then finally, when an enemy does attack, he's going to be retaliating for more damage. Now, the one other thing too to notice, this is a very powerful passive ability here, guys, which is on Cosmic Crucible offense, if Blastaar is an ally, until this character completes a turn, enemies cannot fill speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies. This does not apply to speed bar, obviously, gained through normal means, but I mean, it just prevents so much from happening as a result of that. And in addition, enemies also can have their speed or resistance increase except by positive effects. Another key reason we need to gain access to the awakened ability material. So I think Blastaar is already really good, but he's going to be put through the moon with Thunderstrike actually being on his team here. And then more importantly, these awakened materials to upgrade Thunderstrike's elevated abilities is really what's going to, you know, put him actually in that top tier level of Cosmic Crucible, guys. So in the meantime, we have to focus on obviously just what we can, which are the level 7s, T4s. But yeah, I would probably recommend each and every one of the abilities. They're just good. And honestly speaking, you don't get the bleed well T4ing this, so I just think that there's going to be a lot to be had here. Now, let's talk about ISO-8s. I do think that he's going to be probably slotting in as a Raider ISO-8 first and foremost, just because of the fact that most of his damage is piercing, and he's going to be landing vulnerables where that synergizes with Blastaar's striker mechanic, where he can get additional attacks, right? You can also argue that if you already have some other characters on the team that can land vulnerable, then you can switch him over to a striker ISO-8. So that way he's going to be, you know, sticking on some more bleeds, especially when he comes in for that second attack. But for myself personally, I think it's just going to be more optimal for damage if you use him as ISO-8 Raider, synergy with Blastaar, and then you can use those two characters together outside of Cosmic Crucible as well, and they still kind of work in tandem with one another, and it's just synergizing together, right? So there you guys have it, the full-on review of Thunderstrike. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you guys planning to build him up? Remember, we do need him for obviously the Thunderstrike raids. That's going to be easier, and as well, we obviously have the PvE game mode for Null as well. That's going to allow us the opportunity to use these legendary characters. There you have it. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.